I've been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on a midnight train. Going too fast now, think I'll slow down, standing in the pouring rain.
What's going on, guys? Tristan and Tony here with the One Hell of a Life Outdoor Podcast.
And
Tonight we have on Michael McNeal. He's coming out of North Dakota, and this guy does a lot of dry field hunting up there, and Tony's got some good information on him. And yeah, go ahead and go into that, Tony.
man, I'll tell you guys, if you guys goose hunt, there's probably about a 90% chance that you follow this guy. I mean, he's awesome. Just shows we're so much about reality hunting, you know, and I really believe that Michael does that. You know, I've spent a lot of time, you know, preparing for this podcast and just getting to know Michael, you know, spent a lot of time just viewing all the stuff, and it's always fun, man. It just looks like you're always just out having a great time. So Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. We really appreciate you taking the time out tonight to be with us, man. So do us all a favor, and folks that maybe don't know you or don't know as much about you, kind of, you know, introduce yourself, you know, where you're from, what you do for a living, and what got you into hunting, all that stuff.
Well, so a lot of people think I'm a guide, but I'm really not. I do have a couple real jobs that I do. So I'm Michael McNeal. I live in Portland, North Dakota. I'm a senior account executive for a marketing firm, and you know, I also have some investment properties, and I do some things with that. You know, so I kind of go all over. Sorry, the guy just next. Hey, hold on just a second, guys.
No, you're good, man.
My neighbors just started mowing his yard. Come here. Oh my God. I thought, well, we don't get many nice days in North Dakota, so I was 80 degrees out, and I thought I'd sit and do this on my deck. But so hold on. So let me just go inside here. Come on, Blue. My dog's. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. Come on. Here,
no,
Blue.
You're good, man.
Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, I do have a real job, and contrary, people just think I go hunt a lot, but I do. But I have a real job and live in North Dakota, and I'm fortunate enough my company allows me to. I'm a commission-based salesperson, so I can sell in advance and pretty much take off as much time as I want to travel and do the thing and do what I love.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. So jumping back, you know, one thing I always find interesting is, you know, what brought people to the sport. You know, what was your first memory as, I'm sure as a young person when you got into it, you know, what is your first memory of getting into the sport?
Well, I mean, I really didn't have a chance not to be into hunting. My dad and my mom bow hunts. She shoots till to this day. She's 63 years old and shoots 3 deer with a bow every year.
That's awesome.
My dad took me out. I shot my first squirrel when I was 5. He took me out duck hunt when I was 5. First duck I killed was a decoy, and then took me about 2 boxes of shells, and I finally got my first hen mallard in the decoys in central Minnesota where I grew up. I really didn't have so my whole family hunted. Deer hunting was a big part of it, but man, once I got a taste of waterfowl, it's been my obsession since I was about 7 years old. And I just knew that I wanted to do it as much as I possibly could.
Wow, man, that's so cool. Yeah, I know we feel the addiction. You know, I always tell people all the time, I go, if you were to put your duck hunting hobby on a business plan, the bank would tell you to go shove it. Is what they would do.
No, exactly.
But it's for obvious reasons. I mean, we all love this sport so much, man, and I love seeing people like you portray it in such a great way, you know, and just having fun and stuff. And you know, I was talking to Michael off air, and I said the first time I started following him was only a couple months ago, I guess. And I'm not a big social media person, you know. So anyway, I'll tell everybody, hey man, check out this guy, and they'll be like, yeah, we've been following him for the last couple of years, you know, or something.
Yeah.
But I saw Michael post a video, and basically that. You tell him what happened, Michael. I love.
Well, we were hunting snow geese, and we were absolutely we were beating the heck out of them that day. And what happens when you're hunting snow geese, especially when you're really getting into them, they just come one after another, flock after flock after flock. And you can see that in my videos on Instagram and YouTube and stuff. And what happens is they'll come in real good, and then you get a lot of dead ones out in the spread. You have to physically go pick them up because, you know, my dog's good, but I mean, when you got 30, 40 dead ones out in the spread, it'll keep the birds from landing. Mm-hmm. So I'll holler at the guys, get up and jump up and go pick up birds. Well, I did. And the rule is that we don't take guns. We just leave them unloaded at the blinds so that there's no accidents that happen or whatever. So everybody leaves their guns at the blind. Well, what happened was we had lit, just before this, we had lit a big flock of birds, and we had shot, and we thought they had all got up. Well, my buddies each had 2 big fistful of birds, and they run out, and they get in the middle of the hole, and they're picking up, and all of a sudden they kick one up out of the decoys, and this bird comes right at them, and it can't be more than, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 feet off the ground, and it comes right over the top, and one guy jumps, and then the other guy did I'm like, somebody shoot it, somebody do something. So what's he do? He takes this whole pile of birds and throws them up in the air at this thing to try to knock it out of the air. Well, then my buddy Chuck from Texas was back at the blinds, and he ran back and grabbed his gun and ended up shooting it on video. But it was just comical. It was, you know, and you can't make it up, right? It was real, and it was what really happened, you know. And that's the cool thing about videoing, and you know, the whole video thing, and the people see those funny videos and those interactions. The whole thing started because, you know, I have the opportunity to hunt for about 150 days a year. And I was going to all these cool places, and actually my mother came to me and said, you know, it'd be really cool for the family at Christmas and Thanksgiving to be able to see some of the pictures and the videos. And she's like, you should just get a camera and just take pictures. Someday you'll want to be able to relive some of the stuff you're doing. And so, you know, a lot of people thought I did this to get famous, and really it was just to appease my mother so she could see it. and then so when we were on trips, like, I would just start posting pictures and posting videos. And then I ended up, a friend of a friend knew the head of marketing for Federal, and they had been going to South Dakota and getting their butts kicked and not shooting very many snow geese. And he said he'd bring all the ammo if I took him out. So I did, and he had a blast. We shot a ton of birds, and he said, you know, you should do this Instagram thing. We'll get behind you. And here we are. I mean, this wasn't a plan. It wasn't like, I just kind of fell into it, really. But here's the one thing about me is when I do something, I'm 110% into it. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. Mm-hmm. And to this point, I've done it all with an iPhone. I've now purchased a $20,000 4K video camera, production quality, and now I'm going to start releasing full-length YouTube videos here probably in August. My plan is to do 2 30 to 40-minute videos on YouTube every month.
That's awesome.
Nice. Yeah. It's funny you say that about, you know, the family and looking back on memories and stuff, because that's one thing we've always said, you know, is like, our whole thing was like trying to show the reality of hunting and all that thing. But I always said to my dad, I was like, you know, worst case scenario, it's like we'll have these hilarious videos to look back on, you know, years from now. And just, that's the worst case scenario, is you got that content to look back on, you know, as time goes on.
You know, I always thought about this. Well, you know what really clicked for me, boys? Mm-hmm. My grandma got sick, and she ended up in the nursing home. And she's sitting in there, and every time we'd come in there, she'd pull her old picture book out. She'd start sharing pictures. You know, she got a little dementia and couldn't quite remember, but we brought the picture books in so she could remember. And after she looked at them for a little bit, she would remember everybody. And I just started thinking to myself, you know, someday I'm going to be laying in a bed somewhere, can't do anything, got some hot nurse wiping my butt, you know, hopefully. You know, and I'm going to be sitting there. I'll be able to pull up YouTube and Instagram and go back and watch everything and relive it and act like I'm there. And I think that's a pretty good win for me. So that's the real reason why I keep going and I go so hard with it, is because, you know, someday I'm going to have all these memories. And the other thing is, I have made so many incredible friends because of Instagram. I've gotten invited on many different hunts. I trade hunts with guys, you know, so it's just incredible. I met some bad ones, but there's been more good than bad.
Yeah. No, that's a great point you make. I mean, that really is. And And as you know, and I've mentioned this several times before in our podcast, is if you only talk to your duck hunting buddies during duck season, you're missing the boat, because there's so much more to learn about people and the relationships you can make and the friendships, that you never thought you'd have. They have the same vision as you.
Yeah, and I mean, because of it, I've hunted New Jersey the last few years. I've went out, the Dave Smith decoy guys. I went up to Oregon and hunted with them. I've Oklahoma, Texas. A lot of these guys, I don't pay them. They don't pay me. We just come out and hunt with me for a week, and I'm going to come out and hunt with you for a week. We just kind of share what we have and share the experiences, and then to be, you think you're just going to see this person for a week, and then you end up becoming such good friends with them. Like they become part of the crew. And it really is incredible, the relationships that I've garnered because of the social media thing and just basically videoing what I'm already doing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, and and one thing that I'm always paying attention to is just I'm such a critic of it, is that I'm not hacking on the commercial TV series or of any show or anybody, but it's just for us regular folks, it's just sometimes it's a little bit too commercialized, and it doesn't really bring what the reality is and the fun and those things, and to have somebody like yourself out there doing that state to state, sharing those experiences, you only make those connections if you're a good person yourself, I think. I mean,
and here's the thing, like, I'll be the one to hack on them. All those guys are paying $200, $300, $400, $500 a day. They're talking to guides, and they're getting set up on a silver platter for you. I have never paid for a hunt in my entire life, other than splitting expenses with my buddies. Like, everything that you see is done by myself. I scout the field. I get the permission on the field. We're using my equipment. We're figuring it out. We're going state to state, learning each state, meeting people, knocking on doors, shaking hands, dropping off booze, jerky, whatever it takes, and I've never paid. And there's a certain sense of accomplishment that you can get. Then people don't realize it when they watch those TV shows, how the work that goes in, and a lot of these guys are taking the easy way out, and I refuse to do that. No, there's going to be some trips that I have to take here coming up, that I'm going to do New Zealand coming up, and some other places that I'm going to have to, but for the most part, if it's in the US, I'm figuring it out on my own.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point, because the only downside to like hunting with like a big group on like a guided hunt and stuff like that is like it's like when you kill the ducks, it's almost like you're not, because it's me and my dad both agree, like we'd almost rather make the mistakes on our own, or like flare it off this or whatever, versus the other way around, where you don't get to call as much, you don't get to go change the decoys how you like. Because it just enriches the hunt when you have that success and you're like, oh, this worked, and it clicks for you, like, Well,
it's just like, who would turkey hunt, right? If you were to say to somebody, hey, guess what? I'm going to bring you out here. I'm going to do all the calling. I'm going to do everything for you. And basically just sit there with your gun ready and shoot and kill. Now, there are people that do that. I get it. But I mean, actually, I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it. But there is something magical about feeling like you're part of winning that animal over, no matter what it is. If you're calling, if you're out scenting them with, as a deer or hunting bear or whatever you're doing, I think that there's a certain level of accomplishment, which is so true.
Well, and unfortunately, with the internet, that's one bad thing about the internet and everybody wanting to be famous and stuff, and doing these guided hunts, like, we have this certain sense of unbridled, like, where we want it now. We don't want to put the effort in. We don't want to do the things. So a guy will just pay $10,000 to go shoot a big elk. He'll go pay the $20,000 to do this, and because they want that instant gratification. Where a guy like me, like, that don't mean anything to me. If I look up on that wall and I see that big set of horns, and I didn't go shoot I didn't find the thing, I didn't pack it out, I didn't gut it, I didn't clean it myself, like, it's like, it feels like I cheated.
Yeah.
I just came up with
the value of it.
I just came up with a multi-million-dollar idea, and if any of you guys share it with anybody, you're in trouble. Here it is. Yeah. I was just thinking about the mounts that people put on their walls, right? Mm-hmm. And some people, like, we've all seen these type of people that have the mounts, and it's just all me, I killed these animals. blah, 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 and no like cultural part of harvesting those animals or thankfulness or anything like that. But for the ones of us that do, I sit there and look at each decoy I have, and there's a story behind all of it. So here's my idea. Michael, figure out a way to embed a little video screen that comes with every decoy that you can put up, and you can just hit a little quick video clip and you watch a little screen of that memory of that hunt.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I actually think that ain't too far off, because my wife for Christmas this year, one of her friends got her one of those photo albums that sits there, and flashes the pictures and stuff.
Oh yeah, yep.
So, and that's all it is. It's off motion, and when people walk in the room, it starts playing, pictures. I mean, you could totally rig one of those up underneath your mounts and show, the pictures of it. That's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, if you're listening, so I have to be official here for a second. So if you're listening to this and you go steal my idea, I will see you in court.
That's right.
And Michael will too. Michael will be like, let's get him, dude.
Let's get him.
Awesome. So you're talking about all the I'm sorry, Tristan.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm talking about, you were talking about all the different states that you go to and stuff. What's your favorite state, and I don't want to put you so waterfowl biased and make that decision for you, but what's your favorite game to chase and favorite state to go to?
Well, now that I've started traveling more in the last 10 years.
As waterfowlers, we experience all kinds of extreme weather conditions. Stay bone dry and warm with Frog Togs hunting gear. You can check them out at frogtogs.com or at frogtogshunt on Instagram.
Honestly, how I know something's my favorite is when I get in the truck after a hunt and I start driving away and I get that pit in my stomach, like I feel bad because I don't get to come back to again next year. And so each place that I hunt, I hunt, last year I hunted Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, Kansas, South Dakota, Nebraska, Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana, Saskatchewan, Alberta, Oregon, and New Jersey. So I got around last year. It was the most I've ever traveled. Thank God my work was able to let me do it. But, each different one has an experience, and the terrain's different. The smells are different. If I was a normal person and I was a waterfowl guy and I only had a 2-week vacation, I got 7 days and 7 days, I would spend 7 days in the fall in Saskatchewan and 7 days in the spring in Saskatchewan. If I was a normal person. But I live in North Dakota. We have great hunting here. South Dakota's got great hunting. Montana's got great hunting. Minnesota's got, they all got great, hunting. But if it was me, it would be Saskatchewan or Alberta. If I was a normal guy I only had 2 weeks of vacation, that's what I would do.
And now we got to know why.
Well, because
you see a lot, Michael. I think, to point out here, you've seen a lot of big groups. I've seen a lot of spins. I've seen a lot of these. You've seen it probably all you could see when it comes to that. So for you to say that, that's why it intrigues me.
Because number one, the people.
Awesome.
I met a farmer up there 18 years ago. I started hunting his land, and then I started hunting his buddy's land. He really helped me get him in. Spent time. His one daughter was still shitting her diapers then. And now last year I went to her grad party. So the thing is the people, number one. This guy invited me. Now we stay right in his basement. He won't let us rent anything out. He's opened his home to us, and I spend about 30 days a year in his basement.
Wow.
And they won't take any money from us. Sure, I bring gifts, and they like stuff that we have here that they don't have there. Number one thing is they don't have pepper jack cheese there. Huh. So believe it or not, like I bring like 10 pounds of pepper jack cheese, and he smokes it, and that's like his favorite thing.
That's hilarious.
They love cracking rum, so I bring them rum. The one lady, the wife, she loves Bud Light chiladas. They don't have that there. So but anyway, I've been in their weddings, and the one daughter got cancer, and they hadn't taken any money from us for 15 years. So I called up all my buddies that have been there since then, and I said, everybody's donating. you guys got off on a free one for so long. And we ended up raising like $4,000 cash for this gal that was going through cancer. And she ended up beating it. She's fine now. And we gave them $4,000 cash. And, the people we were staying with, it was nothing but tears, and they couldn't believe that. And because they were selling little wristbands for $1. And when we got there, they had sold 220 wristbands, and they thought they were doing good. Well, I was like, well, do I get 4,000 wristbands or whatever? They can have whatever you want. I still got the wristband, and that was 6 years ago. I still actually got it on my wrist right now. But awesome. So it's number one is the people, the hunting, the pressure. It's phenomenal hunting the prairie up there. You need a lot of gear. It's a big area, but the hunting is phenomenal. There's not as much pressure. The birds come down off the tundra and they're dumb. It's, for better lack of terms, it's easy. I don't want to say it's easy because it takes time to get to know people and gain farmers' trust and get on land and stuff like that. But once you got the relationships built, it makes it a lot easier. And so for me, and yeah, the hunting is incredible and we shoot a lot of birds when we're up there, but the real reason is the people. You've never really met an enemy up there, and they literally, when I stop in up there, it's, come on in, we gotta just make cookies, or come on in, let's have a beer, like sit down, anybody, it's never just, hey, can I go out and hunt the field? It's always 30, 40 minutes, and they're like, hey, I kind of got to get out of here and go check this field again. We got to just put them to bed, and they all, because they don't, where we're at, it's pretty, it's about 40, 50 miles to any town. So they don't get people at the farm very often. So when someone comes over, it's a deal, and it's just, for real, it's the people.
I love that, man.
What an incredible point. Look, y'all if you just picked up on this, I asked him, my answer, you would expect somebody to talk about the waterfowl. He just sat there and talked for 5-8 minutes, I don't know how long it was, about nothing waterfowl, y'all. What is that what an incredible message to point out. And that's why you're having the success that you're having, Michael, is just because you're just being a nice person, being respectful, and growing relationships. And of course, that's the number. We relate to that so much with our buddy Cade at Delta Thunder. We were just in his wedding, and his family means a lot to our family. And, we're real close. I feel like I feel like he's a son to me, even though he would want to punch me for saying that. But,
I get that. Well, and that's, and that's the same people, the people I stay up there. I'm part of their family. I'm basically their son, and I get that. No, I don't want you to come off like I'm total saint, because I beat the shit out of the geese up there. So don't get me wrong. We go up there and we're gonna whack 1,000 every trip. So don't get me wrong. Like I'm absolutely whacking them, and that's second. But it is the number one reason. Because when you leave there, you feel the sense of loss, and when you get there, it's like coming home.
Yeah,
and that means more to me than anything.
Yeah, no, we've got that in Illinois for sure, and definitely in Arkansas, that it feels like a second home to us. Because like you said, you spend so much time away from home in these places, and it is what a great topic and point to talk about today. So one of the things I wanted to know, and Tristan's, said it in the opening, is that you do a lot of dry field hunting, so, and we're going to dive into the whole goose thing, because to me, you're like the goose master, but,
appreciate that.
Yeah, dude. But, I want you to talk about, you're also a duck slayer. And so I want to talk about the difference of dry field hunting ducks versus hunting them over water, and share your professional experience with the success and maybe do's and don'ts, or just share what you think is the best out of the two.
Well, so first and foremost, dry field duck hunting is kind of cheating. It's about the easiest duck hunting you'll ever do. In fact, if you ask, the reason why I hunt geese so much is because I get bored with ducks because it's so easy here.
Wow.
And then that is honest to God truth. For me, it would go snow geese, Canada geese, sandhill cranes, lesser specks, and then probably ducks at the bottom. Just because I'm spoiled where I live and where I get to go hunt all the time. Where, And I know people blasphemy, right? A waterfowl guy, blasphemy, mallards. You know, and, you know, it's just like, you know, man, I can walk out any day and go kill a limit of mallards. It's not a big deal. So for me, I get bored with the ducks. Now, don't get me wrong. Once it gets cold in November and December, there's nothing. I like banging them green beans and pintails in the dry fields like crazy. But, you know, where I live, I'm very, very spoiled, and it just becomes so easy. So and I like a challenge. I'm a guy that that if it's easy all the time, like I want to try something that's a little harder. Like I'll physically make a duck shoot. Like we'll shoot 410s, we'll shoot 20 gauges, we'll shoot, nothing but green. You know, like I mean, and just because like it is so easy. And so the main difference is because once especially like early season and late season, the ducks get grouped up so much. And if you're where the birds want to be, you're going to kill them. As long as they don't spot you, you're going to kill them. So hiding is the most important part. And that can be the most difficult part because later in the year, once, unless you're hunting on the western side of the state where it's all no-till, hiding can be hard because everything's plowed up and it can be difficult. But if you can get hid, and you got 15, 20 dozen decoys and, I have 24 spinners and, wow. If someone sets up next to me or wants to be a douche and get up too close to me, we'll dump the trailer and they're going to find out. So, I'm petty like that. So, give me my space. But, the main difference is it's as long as you're hit, it's easier. Now, don't get me wrong. And here's the other thing, boys. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I hate wearing waders because if I put my waders on, I know I'm going to get wet. So, like, that's the main thing is, like, I don't like wearing waders more than I have to. I've got, and Sitka makes a great wader. Sponsor shout out. They make a great wader. I love their waders and stuff like that. It's like wearing pants. But at the end of the day, I'd rather be laying in a nice dry duck field or sitting in an A-frame with heater blowing on me where I'm getting kind of old. I'm 40 now. I kind of like... and I hunt so much that sitting in front of the heater ain't a bad deal.
True, yeah.
That's awesome. So, like, when it comes to setups, is setups the same? Do you hunt them the same way as far as, your standard? If you were to say, now there's 1,000 ways to hunt ducks in the water, I understand that. But if you were to say, hey, here's your standard UV setup with your decoy spread, spinner in the middle type of thing. I mean, is it the same type of hunting? They're flying into the wind when they land, everything else like that.
And I tell you this, the best duck and goose hunters in the entire world aren't the best duck and goose hunters because they do the same thing every day. They're the best duck and goose hunters because they can read the birds. And I don't just mean when the birds are coming in. I mean when they're analyzing and breaking down a field. If you really truly want to get to the next level and have a lot more success in the waterfowl game, you spend more time analyzing the birds and what they're doing in a field, how they're hopping around. Our fields are, you could be hunting a mile by mile section of corn and they may start on one end when they get to the field, but they're on the other end by the end of the night because they fed it out. So whereas you're pond hunting, they're in there, they're either resting in the pond or they're eating in the pond. A lot of times it's resting, or I know down south they're hunting acorn flats and rice stuff, but it's really, there's no set way that I do it. Some days I put one spinner out. Some days, if someone's close to me, I'll dump the trailer on them, I will tell you one thing, in a field, everybody thinks you need a bunch of full body mallard decoys. And I'll take a spinner over in a dry field situation over it. You don't need duck decoys to kill ducks in the field. Canada goose decoys, snow goose decoys, that's one tip that I'll throw out there is everybody thinks you need to have 5-10 dozen full body mallards, and you don't need duck decoys. They're a waste of money in a dry field. You give me a couple spinners. You boys, got off of work, going out scouting quick and found a spot where the birds are swinging and along a fence line. Went out with my gun and dog and sat down on a fence line, popped out 2 spinners in the field, nothing else, and shot my limit of the greenheads.
Wow.
So, it's not in a field, over water, they don't like the spinners as much. But in the dry field situations, they're feeding so aggressively, boys, that they're jumping around and it looks natural to them.
Good point.
That's interesting because like a lot of people in Arkansas and stuff, they're not necessarily dry field hunting for the most part, and but when we're snow goose hunting out there, you'll get like pintails and stuff that are trying to just land right in the snow goose decoys. So it's funny you bring that point up. It makes total sense to me that you don't need a bunch of duck decoys out there necessarily.
Well, and the other thing is if you're out scouting too, pay attention to what everybody else in the area is doing. If everybody else is running honker decoys and full body mallard decoys, guess what I do? I pull up with a snow goose trailer, dump it, and I'll kill more than everybody. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean by really paying attention to your surroundings and learning to read the birds. Yeah. So what I'm saying, boys, is that when it comes to doing the dry field thing is really pay attention and see your surroundings. That's the number one thing. Is look, think big and think outside the box. Don't set up in the middle of a dry field. Don't set up, set up on an edge. Set up in an A-frame. Get out of the decoys. Think of things like that. Those are the type of things that the guys that are killing the most birds are doing, and why they have such success, because they look at things just a little bit different. And this experience, that's the cool thing about going over. Like, people think that I'm just going around and hunting, but I'm learning different things. For instance, we have a lot of lessers that come through here, Canada geese, and I wasn't very good at killing them. I'll be the first one to admit. I would go out and I'd set up on a flock of 5,000 lessers, and you think you're just going to absolutely just pound them. And I'd be lucky to kill 3 or 4, and I couldn't figure it out. Well, so what did I do? I went to Lesser USA, and I went down to Oklahoma and Texas and learned from them boys how to kill them. And what I learned was my decoy spacing. Huh. I'm used to hunting giant honkers in dry field situation where you're setting up in family groups and you're spreading them out more. Well, these boys will put them decoys a foot and a half apart right on top of each other, where you're like, no way a goose is going to land in here. It just looks like a blob, and the geese will try to land in the thickest part of the spread. When I was out in Oregon hunting with the Dave Smith guys, they even put them almost touching each other when they're hunting the cacklers out there. It's crazy to me, and that's the cool thing about traveling, is you're learning different things.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, because it's something that I brought up to my dad when I shot my first turkey this spring, and it took few different setups and scenarios to basically, have the success on
strategies.
To your point, Michael, the one thing I realized is, like, growing up a deer hunter, there's so many different scenarios. You're reading the body of the deer, just the wind, and all these different factors that, you kind of have your bag of tricks of, like, you think what's going to go down for the most part.
Yep.
So it increases your likelihood of being success. And when you bring up that example of, you went down to Lesser USA to see how those boys do it, that it makes great sense. I mean, you're just increasing your bag of tools, really, to know how to be successful in different situations. And I think that's a good point.
Yeah, no, that's an incredible point. I'll tell you what, me for one, being a very inexperienced goose hunter, I personally, we learn a lot from Cade out at Delta Thunder, just because he's been hunting specs and snow geese all his life, and he's very good at it. And I remember, he was getting on one of his guides this year, and they didn't do anything wrong. They were just trying to do something different. But he showed up to check out the spread they set up, and he basically walked in and just said, "It's all wrong. I mean, he just trashed their whole spread. He goes, "Do you know what this looks like to a bunch of geese, you dumbasses?" I mean, he was he was letting it rip on them, man. And so he explained to me about the spacing, and you were talking about that. He said, with the specs that they were hunting, because of his scouting and understanding what the birds want, what they've seen, he knew that if those decoys were within 2 or 3 feet, they were at the minimum spacing he was doing was 2 to 3 feet, if not more, sometimes 6 to 8 feet. And he goes, it looks like a blob to them. But here on the flip side, you're sitting there talking about these guys hunting lessers where they want the blob. You know what I mean? So it's so cool to understand that and learn, and everywhere you go is different.
to your point, hunting August 15th in North Dakota for early season Canada geese, they don't want to be around decoys. They're in family groups. They're territorial. They're still fighting off each other. Like our spread from August 15th to where late season, where I'm running 25 dozen full bodies and 25 dozen sleepers, like it's completely different. Like, I mean, based on the year, based on the feeding patterns, based on, like early season, they're hitting, wheat fields and they're hitting regrowth and they don't need the calories. So they're not really aggressive feeding, compared to late season where, God, they need a lot of calories to keep alive every day. And they're aggressive feeding like this, your spread sets up different every day. If you're going out in the field and you're still setting up a U out in the middle of a big field every day, or you're setting an X or a J or whatever letter you want to pick out of the alphabet, I can't tell you once in my entire life where I've set up like an alphabet number. That's silly. I set up like the geese were set up in the field the night before, and and if you don't know how to execute that when you get out in the field in the morning and you're in this big area and it's in the dark and everything looks different, take a whiteboard with you, a little trick. Take a whiteboard with you, pull it up on your phone, draw a little map, see how they were sitting it, find the exact spot where they're sitting. I mean, I'll get out in the field and I'll walk around and I'll squish goose poops until I find the greasiest poop on the planet. You want to be right where they want to be, but then your decoy spread is telling a story. That's what you need to think about it as. And even on the water, I don't care where you're hunting, snow geese, ducks, cranes, whatever. The decoy spread tells the story. And what story am I telling these? Am I feeding heavy? Am I just hanging out? The night before when you scout a spot, they're telling a story. And if you can read the story, then you can react it. When they come back out, it looks natural to them and you'll kill more birds.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I love the way you said that.
Yeah.
Telling a story.
Yeah, no, it is. That's great. So you broke it down real quick earlier, but I got to know, what is your favorite species of goose to hunt and why?
Snow geese. By far, hands down. They're the toughest bird on the planet to hunt, to consistently kill them. And I'm talking like, 100 bird days consistently. And, want to know what? I kill a lot of snow geese, and, they still humble me to this day. And, I always tell people, and people will come and hunt with me. They'll get an invite through a friend or whatever, and they see the 100 bird, 200, 300 bird days all the time. And they just think that's how it is every day. But I got to tell you, you got to go through a lot of 15, 20, 30 bird days, and then you'll go on a rip. And then, you get in the right situation, you get the right weather, you get the right wind, you get the right everything, and then everything comes together and you shoot every shell you have.
Now, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Michael, but
no, go ahead.
I should have been more specific to such a goose hunter like yourself. Of snow geese, is there a favorite of the snow geese that you like to hunt? And so let's break it down even another little step.
Well, I got to tell you, I've hunted. I was lucky enough to actually hunt greater snow geese out in New Jersey with my buddies at Fall Play, New Jersey. Scott Ewan and all his boys out there. We got to know each other on Instagram, and they invited me. I've been going out there every year now. The difference between lesser snow geese and greater snow geese is they're not even the same bird. It's completely different. But I guess Ross geese are always my favorite snow geese because they're the dumbest. For whatever reason, they're gullible. They give it up. They band a lot of them, so we shoot a lot of Rossi bands. So I'd probably say out of the snow geese, Rossies are my favorite. But I'll tell you what, them graders are a totally different bird, and I've gotten a real hatred of them over the years too. And that's so I would say probably number 2 is them graders. Funny. Quick, and I got time for a quick little grader story.
Oh, yeah. Please. Yeah, and also do this, Michael, please. For the people that are just getting into snow geese, explain the difference of how they look: a lesser, a greater, and a Rossi. Okay. Yeah, you can do that at the end, but at some point.
No. I'll do that first. So, number one thing, a lesser snow goose is about 4 to 5 pounds, 6 pounds, somewhere in there. And then a blue goose is, think of a snow goose and a blue goose kind of like Labradors.
Okay.
You know, you have a black and a yellow, and they'll throw black and yellow. Kind of the same thing. I always try to explain it to people like that. They're just a different color phase. So they'll breed together, and they may throw 2 whites and a blue. They may throw so they're basically the same bird. They're just a different color. Now, a Ross goose is a completely different subspecies of snow geese. A Ross goose, they breed in different spots. They act completely different. Rossies are the acrobats of the sky. You will never hunt anything that comes in flipping as hard as a Ross goose that wants to die. I'm telling you right now, they will come in
to die.
when they come. In fact, a lot of times they'll come in so fast. They'll be at 15 yards, 10 yards, and they'll be flipping so hard. I gotta let them swing around and come back a second time, because by the time you get up and get your gun to the shoulder, they're flipping and coming so hard.
Our partners at Huntwise are offering an exclusive discount for Zero Duck 30 followers. As an elite member, some of the features you'll immediately gain access to are Huntcast, Windcast, peak kill times, property lines, owner information and phone lookup, 250 map layers, unlimited offline maps, 3D maps, social media, and on top of it all, save up to 50% on some of the top hunting brands in the industry. Download and explore the #1 hunting tool set today and save 20% by using code DUCK30.
Hard that you just can't catch up to them. I've got a lot of videos from especially in Canada and North Dakota, where you'll end up hunting. And I've actually down in Kansas a couple of times. I hunted in the spring, and we got into straight Rossi feeds, and there ain't nothing like hunting Ross geese. They're just more. Now, the difference between Ross geese are about, juvies are about 1.5 pounds to about 3 to maybe 4 pounds max. But they got short beaks. An older Ross goose will have warts on its nose, just like you would think. They get really, the big ones, they really got some pronounced warts. My oldest Ross goose I've ever shot was 19 years old.
That's cool.
So, and I know that because of the band that was banded on it. I've shot a lot of 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old Ross geese. For as dumb as they are, you wouldn't think one would make it that long. But yeah, so that's basically the difference. Snow geese and blue geese are the same. Now, the graders out on the East Coast, they are monsters. I got some pictures on my Instagram where you put them next to an Atlantic honker, and they're the same size.
What?
So you're talking,
Wow.
Yeah, they're, in fact, the very first hunt we had a straight white spread, and the guy said, there's honkers around, and he said, we won't kill any honkers in the white spread, but, we'll kill our snows. And we ended up power calling a flock of honkers in. Me and my buddy are pretty good callers, and they didn't do it, but they came 40 yards straight up over the top, and I called it. And out in New Jersey, up until this year, they now increased it to 3. You can only shoot 1 honker a day, which is kind of crazy. But we ended up raining out our 7 birds. I think there's 7 or 8 of us, and we ended up killing all of our birds. And then you put them next to the grader, and they're the same size. So
Wow.
A grader is going to be in that 7 to 10 pound range, maybe 11. And so, to my story, the very first time I was out there in New Jersey, the very first day we went scouting, they had this field all picked out, and there was about 15,000 graders in the field. And it was cool because we pulled up and we seen 4 yellow net collars right from the road. We seen lots of bands. It was pretty neat. And that day we get in the spread, get everything set up, and we're in the A-frame. And I look up, and it was about 20 minutes before shooting time, and here come the single right into the decoys. He lit in the spread, tucked his head, went to sleep. and 5 minutes later, I look up, and here come 2 more. Flew into the spread, laid down, tucked their head, went to sleep. And we're just waiting because I'd never shot one. So I actually had Nate from the 1-800-327 band page with me on that hunt. But basically, my other 2 buddies and I, the guys that said, okay, it's shooting time. It's like, well, I'll walk way down to the spread and get the single. You 2 guys go over and get these 2. So I walk down there and I get in position. And I'm like, you guys ready? Yep. And they're sleeping the whole time. They didn't get up or nothing. And I was like, okay, shoot them. So the first guy shoots one of the pair on the ground. The other one jumps up, and mine just stands up, stretches his wings out, pumps 3 times. And I'm looking at it. And sure shit, that thing was banded.
Wow, that's
No
awesome.
And I couldn't get my gun up to my shoulder fast enough. I roasted him on the ground. And so the very first greater snow goose Very first time out hunting, very first trigger squeeze, one shot, I killed my first leg-banded greater snowgator.
Gotta love that.
Dude, that is so cool.
You know, so I mean, and the cool thing, difference between graders, so lessers are snow geese are more aggressive feeders. They're constantly jumping ahead. They're greedy. That's why you don't see a lot of Canadas and specks. They try to segregate themselves from them. If you ever watch them in the field, because they don't want to be in the middle of them because they're so nasty and greedy and fighty. Whereas graders, they're from what I can tell, they're kind of slobs. They get to the field, you watch them, they get to a field, they lay down in one spot, and they just eat from their bellies. And then once they get that spot fed out, they'll walk 2 feet, lay back down, and they'll eat from their bellies. You'll never see a lesser do that.
That's hilarious. Just couch potatoes.
So they're just slobs, and they just don't care, and and then they work more vertical. You know, lesser snow geese will come in big groups. They'll spin hard. They'll come in flipping hard. Whereas a grader, you shoot a lot of. You'll get some big flocks, but for the most part, they come in more straight up and down, kind of like a lesser, and or more like a honker, and they're more apt to land. I've noticed, but when they hit the ground, they just lay right down and go to sleep, or lay down and start eating. It's crazy.
That's crazy, man.
Wow.
That's so different.
It is so different. And you know what? I just learned something. Like, as I said before, I'm a very inexperienced goose hunter. And I didn't know that there was only, I mean, is that only the place where you can hunt graders is on the Atlantic coast?
Yes. Yep. That's the only place. And in Quebec, Canada, they don't go up as far north. The St. Lawrence River, they don't go as far north as the lessers do.
No kidding.
No, I've killed a few graders in central Mississippi flyways. But for the most part, you know, they'll get mixed in, they'll get off course, they'll shoot a few bigger ones. But for the most part, if you want a true grader hunt, you got to hunt like New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, you know, Maryland, Quebec. You know, those kind of places where you're going to really get into the true graders. No
kid. So if I was hunting in Arkansas, snow goose hunting, and I shot a grader, then that would be kind of a gem.
It would be.
Nice.
But the hard thing is really proving that's a grader. Because, you know, I mean, you'll see some bigger geese. I mean, when you shoot one and you hold it in your hand and it's the size of a honker, you know you got one.
Right. So you're like, this like a pig.
Yeah, it's just like their necks are longer, their comb of their beak is thicker and wider. It almost looks more like someone's backyard barn goose than it does a snow goose.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, I was going to jump into asking you what some of the common mistakes hunters make goose hunting, but I think you covered so much of it talking about when you were talking about spreads and everything else. So I kind of want to just dive into this one. And this is, you know, you had a picture up on your Instagram of these 2 trumpeters that you shot last year. You know, dude, they're a mystery to me. And it's one of those birds that kind of like the sandhill crane. That's like, you know, one of those things that's on the bucket list that I got to go chase.
Yeah.
And so, you know, talk about hunting trumpeter swans. Where do you hunt them? How do you hunt them? And what's that experience like?
Let me just stop you first and foremost. We don't hunt trumpeters. They're illegal to shoot. We hunt tundra swans. Okay. And the difference is the beak, the length of the neck, and the tundra swans have a little yellow patch right below their eye.
Okay.
And if you go on swan hunting, if you don't know the difference, it's best to go with somebody that does. Now, I think there's 11 states where you can shoot swans in. Mm-hmm. Some states you can actually shoot a trumpeter in. In North Dakota, we can only shoot the tundra.
Gotcha.
And the easiest way to tell is the length. They sound a little bit different. You know, a trumpeter is more of a whistle hoo, like a shoo, 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 where a tundra is more of a hoo, 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 kind of like more like an owl.
Gotcha.
So that's one way to tell the difference. But the other thing is the only real way is to bring a set of binoculars with you or know somebody that shot. Now, I've shot 21 of them in my life. You can get one tag in North Dakota every year. There's a lottery. You put in for it in August. I believe out of state is $30. I think in state's 15 or 20. I've I've never not got one. But yeah, I mean, and the guys from New Jersey actually came out here, and ended up the first trip out here. They got their swans.
Wow.
There's a lot of different ways to do it, but if you're swan hunting, most of somebody, it's like a bucket list bird, and they want a really nice one to mount. So the best way to get a mounter is to really sneak up on a flock on a pond and kind of go Arkansas one.
He said go Arkansas on him.
You know what I mean?
I love the stereotype.
I don't mean to throw shade at my boys down south.
No, I know it's funny though.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, get up next to the pond, sit and spend some time with them, kind of like the deer. You pay attention. You want one with a lot of heavy ruffles on the back of their neck. That's how you know they're older. They get really kind of curly back in the back of their neck, and that's how you can kind of tell one's older. Actually the real old ones don't have as much of the yellow on their eye. The younger ones have more of a yellow. But no, I've shot them pass shooting them, where you find a spot where they're roosting and they'll go to a smaller pond to eat, and get in between them and shoot them as they come over. I've shot them that way. I've shot them decoying them. I've shot 3 of my swans in my life in a snow goose rig. Where we were hunting an area, we were hunting mallards and snows in the field, and I looked up and here come a flock of swans, and they didn't come feet down and try to land, but they came over close enough where a guy could, they came in that 25 to 30 yard range and just pick out one that looks nice and send it. And so I've shot a few that you can decoy them, pass shoot them. But if you truly want a nice one, you spend a lot of time. Now, if you see 200-300 swans on a pond, don't mess with them.
Yeah.
Go find a spot that's, you'll find a lot of spots where there'll be 5, 6, 8, 10 in a spot. And you can find a pretty good one that way. But truly the best way to get one for the wall. And then, 3-inch BBs, try to shoot them. It's kind of like shooting a turkey. You never aim at the top of the head. You kind of aim at the base of the neck, and try to get within range and do it that way. And then make sure they're dead. Cause I've had many guys that have shot them that, have a real problem with, finishing them off. If they like to play dead. And cranes are the same way. I've got a scar on my hand from hunting sandhill cranes. Quick story on cranes.
Yeah, dude, let's go down this rabbit hole because I've heard about.
Okay, let's go down it.
Yeah, because I've heard about like a serious safety issue with hunting these.
No, my dogs are always pretty aggressive, so I've never had any issues with it. They don't run goggles or anything like that. I don't believe in them. But
okay.
With cranes, I remember one time we were up in Saskatchewan and we were hunting snows, and we had a flock come over, and they were probably 50, 60 yards. And I swung through and I touched off and sailed one. He went down about 200 yards behind us. So I start running over there, and I had 3 shells in my gun. And I am chasing this thing, and I'm not a small guy for those that haven't seen me on the internet. And I get over there, and I'm huffing and puffing, and I'm about downright mad by the time I get over it, because they got long legs, man. When they decide they're going to run, they're going to run. Well, the dog finally caught up to it, and it poked him, and he didn't want to go in after it, and he just kind of baited it like a coonhound, and he was around just kind of barking at it, and it kind of, because they'll stick their wings out, and they'll come running right at you, and they'll swing that neck, even at a human, and they'll try to stab you with a beak.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
They're mean. They're as mean as a pet coon, man, I'll tell you. So this one particular one, I finally got over there. I was out of shells. I'd shot at it 3 or 4 times, out of ammo, and I got close enough to it, and I whacked it with my gun barrel. And it rolled on its back, and it was kicking, and it was like bobbing, doing the Stevie Wonder, bobbing its head. I thought the damn thing was dead. And I'll tell you what, I reached down, and I went to grab the thing by the neck, and it struck me like a rattlesnake. It hit me right in the web of my hand. Ooh. And now I've got a 1/4-inch gash. It went right through the web between my thumb and my pointer finger on my left hand, and it went all the way through. God, and I pulled out, and the thing was stuck in there, and I finally got it pulled out, and I finished him off. But yeah, I mean, it's a serious deal. Now, best eating bird on the planet other than a speckle belly, in my opinion. Crane is a wonderful, wonderful meat. It's very red. When you breast them open, it's more like a grouse or a pheasant. They don't have a real waterfowl taste. It's really, really red meat. It'll remind you of beef, very much so. But yeah, I mean, they're mean. You gotta, a couple of years ago, this guy got roasted because he posted a video of crane, and they had this baseball bat, and he ran out there and ping, you could hear it, the little ball bat, and the crane's head goes flying, and of course all the antis were on his post and roasting him. And I'm just like, you know what? If you've never done it, went toe to toe with one of them and know how mean they are and how serious it is, like, you don't get it. Like,
yeah, right. It's crane brutality.
It is. Like, you're defending yourself. Like, I mean, geez, if he just let the damn thing run off, they'd have been mad because he didn't kill it and finish it off. So you just can't win, right?
Bro, I'm going to expose myself here. So I had a similar experience with a speckled belly goose this year. So we were hunting with some friends and stuff, and they flew over, we popped them, and there's a wounded out there, a cripple. And so I went after him. Well, I did the same thing. And I had just gotten a brand new extended choke on my gun. Thought I was like the Lord of shooting. And dude, I fired 3 shots. I'm just going to be embarrassed. Dude, I fired 3 shots at this thing at less than 40 yards. And he just keeps on walking off. And I'm like, dude, this choke, which was probably just me all jacked up, whatever. Right. But I had to go over and give him a golf swing.
Yeah,
I mean, I just did. But the thing is, I went to pick him up after that, dude, and he freaking clawed me, like ripped my, literally got me hard. And I was like, man, dude, you got to be careful and make sure that all game that you shoot are dead, well,
even pheasants, man, I've had to get 3 stitches in the palm of my hand from grabbing a rooster.
Oh wow!
Because they're and they got long talons and they're sharper than hell too. They cut me right open. I had to get 5 stitches in the palm of my hand because I reached down to grab a rooster out of the dog's mouth while he was kicking.
Goodness.
I mean, and I got pretty damn good dogs, and I'll tell you what, they could charge $10,000, $20,000 for Labrador, and it'd be worth every penny. Because like I know I'd be a lot skinnier without my dogs. So
you know what? And this isn't even on the pod. On the outline, but. You made such a great post the other day talking about Blue and talking about that 50, I think you said 50% of the reason why we do what we do when you have a dog is because of the relationship and the experience that you have with this animal. Man, let's give a shout out to your dog and let you just brag about your dog for a minute. Why, talk about Blue.
Yeah. Well, I've been lucky enough. I've had 3 dogs in my life, and, my last dog, Bama, he was a black lab. I actually lost him in a hunting accident. He went so just gets into how I got Blue. Bama was 7, and I sent him on a long blind across a railroad track, and he was looking for the bird, found it, and a train came by and ran over him. He died right in front of me.
Oh my God.
Worst day of my life. It was the most tragic thing. I've never known a sense of loss or mourning because I train all my dogs myself. My dogs go to work with me every day to my office. They either sleep in the truck or they sleep under a bed in my office. They sleep in my bed with me. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. My dog is my life. Mm-hmm. And to lose him in the heat of battle like that was hard. So basically what happened, how I ended up with Blue, and Blue's an incredible creature. He's a super expensive puppy. Super smart. I'm glad I spent every nickel on him, but my buddies all sent handwritten letters to this guy. I didn't even know they were doing it. I was still, 7-8 days into losing Bama, and they found Blue for me, and this was going to be this guy's pick of the litter. And they got this guy crying and told him the story, and I get a phone call in the middle of the afternoon one day, and I was actually sitting at home. I couldn't even work. I was so tore up.
Yeah.
Guy says, just come get this damn dog. I'm like, who is this? What are you calling me for? Like, what are you talking about? Just tell your buddies to stop messaging me. Come get the damn dog, And I was like, what are you talking? Well, here was this guy in Missouri, and I said, dude, you don't know how much this means to me. Come and hunt with me. At least let me repay you this way. I mean, you're losing your pick. Like, he was going to run field trials with this dog. And I said, come hunt with me. At least let me take you hunting a couple. I'll take you once in the spring, once in the fall. Let me trade for you. For giving up your pick. And now me and Sean Dugan, who I bought him from, are best friends. He goes to Canada with me. Another relationship that just came out of tragedy from the internet. Wow. And now Blue, let me just tell you, Blue has got one gear, and it's freaking go. So Blue is the fastest dog I've ever had. He's the smartest dog. Bama was a 20,000 bird retrieve dog.
Wow.
Blue at 3 years old is about at 13,000 retrieves right now.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
Wow.
So,
and this is a do you call him a blonde or a yellow?
He's a darker yellow. He's not a red, but he's darker yellow.
I just want to throw some shade at all the black lab guys real quick, because you did say that the predecessor was a black lab, and now you got this master ace blonde.
And my first dog was actually a red lab. His name was Gus. He was awesome too. But Blue, he runs blinds like a crackhead on bath salts, man. I'll tell you what, he goes, and he runs and handles really well. I've got a lot of videos from 3 years ago when I got him where, I mean, he was 7 weeks. I literally drove to Missouri, picked him up, come back home, get out of the car. He goes potty. I take a bumper, never seen one before. I threw it. He ran and got it, brought it back. 7 weeks old.
Wow.
I mean, he retrieved his first. So I picked him up. I picked him up July 5th, coming up here, July 5th, 3 years ago. And October, so I took him out early season and I just put him in a kennel and locked him and laid him there. He was trying to drag back geese to me when he was, then September. And then he retrieves his first duck. I remember I took him out in this little pond, just me and him. He was doing really good. He was steady in his kennel. And I thought, well, if you're ready, let's go, So I took him out, just me and him. And the first duck that comes in was a hen pintail. And I sat up and I whacked her, and she flew about 45 yards, fell 45 yards into some tall grass up to my chest. And he marked her, and he's whining. And I said, okay, Blue. And he took off. He ran across that pond, swam the pond, went in that tall grass, was in there for about 3 minutes. He came out with that damn duck.
Wow.
And, and that's, what was he, probably 15, 16 weeks old, 17 weeks old. And he's just been a firecracker ever since I had him. And he knows no fear. He's got one gear. He's an incredible dog. And for me, 60% probably of what I love about waterfowl hunting is the dog work. And for now, I'm starting to travel and fly in more. So the worst part of my year is when I got to leave that dog at home with somebody to watch him, and I can't bring it's not the same when he ain't there. Sure. And I love them dogs more than anything. So sorry, you got me on. Now I sound like a big old softy.
No, man, that's incredible. Thank you for just being so open and sharing that story. Holy cow, what an incredible dog. And I can't even imagine, a lot of people talk about, what they do for their dogs during season as far as diet and stuff like that. Like, what kind of diet do you have Blue on and, your dog before that to keep up with the amount of, work they're doing? So we went to Canada for 2 weeks in May. Mm-hmm.
When he left, he was 88 pounds. When he got back, he was 78.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets 4 cups of dry Purina Pro Plan, the high energy, the really fatty stuff. It's like $70 a bag. He gets 4 cups in the morning, 4 cups at night. My dogs, they get table scraps. In fact, the rule is if Blue's got to go longer than 200 yards on a blind, you owe him a cheeseburger. So,
I saw you give Blue a cookie. I saw you give Blue a cookie.
Yeah, he likes oatmeal cream pies are his favorite. So he, shout out to Little Debbie, and I need your sponsorship here soon to keep the dog fed. But
right.
He gets people food. I'm not one of those guys that are, you get so few years with them, and Gus was 10, Bama was 7. You get so few years with them, and those dogs will go through ice, lay in snowbanks, 10 below. I mean, 2 years ago we were in Montana. We hunted a day. It was -30, and he was right out there. He was hunting. He didn't want to give up. So what they go through and the things that they put themselves through, man. If they want a cheeseburger, if they want a piece of your sandwich, if they want a chip, give it to them. They earn it.
That's a good
so
point.
That's going.
Well, it's a good time to also bring up. I saw this post that you had that you guys were having some kind of like the worst blizzard in North Dakota or something like that, and we
had 5 feet of snow this year.
And you were out there hunting, and I'm guessing Blue was right by your side.
Yeah, he was. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, Blue has many times, more times than I can count, had to dig out a bird out of a snowbank. the bird will fall in and it'll be 2-3 feet down, and he's got to dig his way down to find it and pull it out.
Holy
Wow,
cow.
goodness. One thing that Tristan and I was I would say just well, it was an educational experience for us. We had hunted in the timber in Arkansas with a good buddy of our, Davey, and it was below freezing temperatures. And I had never seen a dog. Like, I felt like it's way too cold for this dog to be out here right now. But Bear didn't care, dude. I mean, when you have a good dog that's so driven, and I guess it goes for any animal, I guess, but when I was just like so blown away that he wanted to be there so bad. And so one time we're out there and Davey goes, "You know what he's looking at over there?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "He wants that log." And I go, "What?" He goes, he just wants it, bro. He just wants it. And I'm like, dude, he's got ice forming on his chin. I mean, he's sitting there shivering, but he doesn't give a damn, dude. And finally he goes, "Bear," what was the command? I don't know, whatever command he gave
back,
him.
probably.
Yeah. He said back, and Bear just, you saw a smile from his face, bro, jumping off of that stand to go over there and get that log, and that changed something for me, understanding the drive that these incredible animals have.
Yeah, I mean, this last year, Blue hit a fence, and we had to get him stitched up. I mean, his eyelids, when it gets that cold, will freeze shut.
Wow.
Goodness.
So, yeah, I mean, so every once in a while, I'll bring him in the blind where the heater's at and try to warm him up and thaw him out a little bit. But, yeah, their eyes will physically freeze shut when it gets that cold.
Do you need to put, like, vests or pads on their feet or anything like that?
Once it on ice – see, the thing is, they need the traction of their claws, so it's you're kind of counterproductive doing that. But you only got to worry about frostbite of the nose and the belly. So I run mine with it. Once it gets below, I don't know, probably below 0, I'll put a vest on him. He don't like it. He don't like wearing a vest. Or if I'm hunting cranes, so I'll put a vest on him. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, you got to more worry about frostbite at that point. But typically if it's that cold, we're running heaters in the blind, so we'll bring them in and out, warm them up. And typically, when we're hunting like that, the geese, once they start coming, and a lot of times we'll park the truck out in the field, and until we see the first bird fly, we don't sit in the blind. We'll just wait for it to get warm. And once the first bird comes off the roost, then we all get in, and then it's typically over in about 45 minutes to an hour. When it gets real, real late and cold like that. Because, sometimes they'll fly in the morning. Sometimes they don't fly till about 2 hours before dark or an hour before dark. So it's kind of an all-day thing, but you'll end up sitting in the truck just waiting for them. But, yeah, so we just try to keep them as comfortable as you can. Try to, but if he's running around, though, and he's moving and he's doing all those things, it ain't going to hurt him.
Gotcha. This just came to mind, and this isn't on the outline either, but I was just thinking, one of the things that's a negative when we hunt snow geese down in, say, Arkansas, is the temperatures. And, so many times it's been that above freezing to 50-something degrees, and I can't even tell you the right wind that Cade's always looking for and stuff. But point I'm making is that when it freezes over, snow goose hunting is terrible. And every gal knows this in the Arkansas area. You're up there hunting them like all the time when it's like that, I guess.
Dude, I'll tell you what, this last year, right, we ended up getting a foot of snow. So the first day we went out and hunted, we shot 235. No snow, it was beautiful out, 30 degrees in the morning, got to like 38 that day, but there's a cold front that pushed in, we were going to get snow. We came back to the field and we had shot the piss out of these birds, and they were right back in there. And I'm talking like 100,000 birds, all gray birds. And we set up a little bit off of where we were. We set up in the A-frame because we knew it was going to be storming. And, as long as you can get out of the wind, it was 40-mile-an-hour winds, and it was going to snow a foot. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to snow geese, I'll take fog, wind, snow. Those are your very best days. Well, anyway, this is the only hunt I probably should have died on, but the snow was coming down so vertical and so hard the dogs couldn't even, they were coming in, the birds were coming in 5 feet off the ground, and they couldn't see when they came in. We were just on the spot where they wanted to be, and they couldn't see. And we come in and we were dropping them, and the snow was so deep that, you'd send them out and you think you'd have them all. And then on the next one out, he'd run by a spot, and all of a sudden, poof, the snow would go up and the geese would start running off, and he'd grab that one. Like, it was just crazy. But at the end of that hunt, we had parked the truck about 400 yards away along this tree line. And I said, okay, or I sent somebody else to go park it. And I told them where to park it. Well, they parked it about 150 yards off where I told them to. Me and my buddy Adam went to get the trucks, and it was so stormy and it was so bad. We walked around for an hour and a half and could not find them trucks. And
Wow.
And we had killed 170 geese that morning. But like we're walking around, and finally we stopped with our back to the wind, and we're both sweaty, ice, like my gloves were froze. I couldn't even move my fingers. They were literally, the gloves were frozen. And I looked at him, and he's actually high up in the military. He's in the guard in Minnesota. And I looked at him, and he looked at me. I said, this is how idiots die. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is how. I mean, you always wonder.
Yeah.
You always wonder how it can happen.
Yeah.
And we were lost. We were in a big open cornfield in the middle of North Dakota. I knew where the house was at, but I couldn't find where they parked. I realized I forgot. I have the app on my phone for my truck. We pulled it up, and we could see where the truck was at. We walked. You could see our foot tricks. We got within 100 yards of that truck, and we made 8 circles around that truck and never saw it. That's. And we were within 100 yards of it. We couldn't see it. That's how hard it was snowing and blowing. We couldn't see. Finally get over to where these guys, they were waiting on us. They didn't know what the hell happened. They thought something bad happened. We get over there. We throw the decoys in as fast as we can. Almost got stuck 3 times going out of the field. And then we get back to the lodge, and it snowed 18 inches. We actually got stuck at the lodge that we were staying at, where we had to wait till the next day when it started. The guy had to bring his tractor over and dig us out before we could head back home. But yeah, that was the scariest situation, and I never really realized how serious it is until I was in that spot where it was like, oh my God, like we're idiots.
Well,
like we're stupid.
Well, isn't that, like you said, isn't that how accidents happen? Like I remember the first time Tristan and I went hunting public timber in Arkansas, and it was late season, and there was a lot of flash flooding and everything. And I had a basic setup with a very low end surface drive and stuff. And, I told my wife when I got back that year, I go, never again. I go, dude, I felt like, I had some breakdown issues and stuff. And when you got all this undertow and all these scary situations coming, I'm like, this is how people die. And
yes.
And relatable to what you're saying. But where I'm going with this is my wife is not anything to do with hunting. All right. And here's the point I'm going to make. Today, she shares this post, and I think this is a great thing to do if you're in a survival situation. I don't know if you saw this, Tristan, but and I was like, whoa, Mom, if you say your phone's getting ready to die and you're in that survival situation, change your voicemail to say where you're at.
Exactly.
Bro,
that's a great idea.
Incredible idea, dude. Just change your voicemail real quick. Hey, this is where I'm at. This is my coordinates. If you can give them, if this is where I went, that kind of thing. This is what time of day it is. Give as much information on your voicemail, because anybody calling your phone is going to find that, dude. That was genius.
Yes,
genius. I would have never thought of that.
Big shout out to Mama Vogel for finding that out. Good job.
No, that's great.
Good job,
idea.
honey. Good job.
Yes.
So anyway, but man, good stuff. So I want to dive into some stories because, man, so much of what we do is sitting around the fire, dinner, or whatever, and just sharing stories with each other as hunters and stuff. And man, I'm just going to give you a 2-part throw here. You don't have to tell these stories if you don't want to, but you shot a blonde mallard a few years ago. You've got an incredible story about this canvasback, which I want to hear. Dude, can you share some of your favorite hunts, craziest stories? You've already shared so many, but tell us a little bit about that kind of stuff.
Well, so we shot 2 blonde hens. I shot one in October and I shot one in November. And and one was a little more blonde than the other, but they're both blondies. And this basically with a blonde hen, it's just a Lewistic gene that they carry. It's kind of like when you hear people say a Quill Lake goose.
Mm-hmm.
I've hunted Quill Lake in Canada, and if it's not coming off a Quill Lake, I don't consider it a quill. But it's just a Lewistic tendency that the bird will have where it'll get extra white on it. I've also shot a storm widgeon down in Texas that's got and I wish I could share pictures with you now, but it's got a really white head.
Send us those pictures. We'll throw it up during the podcast.
Yeah. So I got I've shot in Montana. We've shot a lot of and North Dakota and South Dakota. We've shot a lot of what they call a Quill Lake, where I've got one you'll see a video of it and pictures on my Instagram of it's pretty much white all the way down the neck. The wingtips are white, and then it looks like a snow goose from the base of its neck all the way down, and then it had white feet too, and pink feet.
Wow.
So I've shot some pretty cool, and that's the type of stuff. I'm not a big mount guy. I've got quite a few mounts in my house, but it's got to be something special and different. So we shot a couple blonde hens. We shot I've shot 107 bands, and I've probably given away probably double that. I've shot 5 net collars. I found honestly what I'm most proud of, let me just get it, more than any bird, I was out in New Jersey last year. We're hunting in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean for brant geese, and we're hunting on this little island, and we were shooting some, and it was kind of slow, and they weren't coming out. So me and my buddy just went walking around thinking we were going to shoot a black duck on these little saltwater ponds I got out in the middle of these islands. And we're just walking around, and we're both walking 2 feet apart, just kind of bullshitting, shooting the shit. And we both looked down at the same time, and there is a white net collar from a goose laying 2 inches, barely, just that there's something sticking out of the mud, and I could tell it was a net collar, and I pulled it out, and we found it laying on an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Never shot it, never shot it. Yeah, it was that was probably the craziest story that I've ever had, and it was just that you're walking. How many? I don't know how many people have been on that island, but it was just laying there, barely sticking out of the mud. The tide could have came in. You'd have never saw it. How many years has that thing been laying there? And we just found the damn thing laying on the ground, just barely sticking out of the mud. It was crazy. So I'm probably more excited about that. I know that sounds weird, like shooting a blonde hen, shooting a storm widgeon, shooting a quill. Like those are all like bucket list birds people die over. But I've seen 7 blonde hens die in my life. I've seen a lot of quills. I know it sounds like I'm spoiled, but like it's just like for me.
Well, you did say earlier that you are spoiled.
I am very spoiled. But, finding that net collar laying in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean on this one island where the tide had finally came out, and you found the thing laying there. That's cool, man.
That's wild.
That's just you don't do that.
Right.
So did you look up the info on the collar?
Yeah, I actually did a video about it on my Instagram. We talked about it. They couldn't give me any info on it because it was so old, and I couldn't, because it looks white. But net collars are a lot of different colors, and it had faded over time where the numbers are there, but you don't know what color it is, so they can't match it.
Oh.
So they couldn't give me any information on it. I don't even know what it come off of. It could have came off of a swan. It could have come off of greater snow. It could have came off a honker. I don't know. It's a very, very big collar. I've shot a net collared Canada goose. I've shot 3 net collared Ross geese in my life. And this one's actually a little bit bigger than the Canada I shot. But that doesn't mean it's not a Canada either, so yeah, it was just crazy.
Wow.
So that's probably the one I'm most proud of. The storm widgeon was cool. The blonde hens are cool. And I wish I could tell you this big dramatic story about how it happened, but both, the 2 blondes we shot a few weeks apart there a couple of years ago, we were just sitting in a spread, and they came in 50. I think there's 50 or 60 ducks in both flocks, and you can just tell that one was different. And I was like, I think that's a blonde hen, guys. And they're like, well, you shoot it, you saw it. So so just kind of, I wish there was more of a dramatic thing. I shot a black duck in North Dakota, which is super rare.
Wow.
Whoa.
that was pretty neat. I mean, I've shot black ducks in New Jersey, but I shot a black duck in North Dakota in a mallard in a cornfield 10 years ago. Not many. I mean, I've know a lot of hunters in the state, and probably one of 5 that I know of.
Wow.
And so I did kill a Drake black duck in North Dakota. So that was that would probably be the most rare one. Just based on now, I've killed probably 50 of them since then out East Coast where there's a lot of them. But yeah, that was pretty cool. But I don't know why it's, and I like bands, and we shoot quite a few of them and stuff. We shot, in fact, you'll see a video this year. We shot a banded Rossi and a banded snow one day in Saskatchewan, and only thing that was, there's supposed to be 2 bands on this bird, and the only thing that was left was the $10 reward band, and the thing was almost falling off. It was wide open. The thing was really wore. I've sent the information on that, and I haven't got confirmation yet. Don't hold me to this, but they think that bird is almost 20 years old, and it would be the oldest recorded snow goose banded recovered. So
wow.
So it's tough to tell without the other band, but they're doing some research into it, and they think it's one of the oldest snow geese ever shot.
Wow.
That is so cool.
They think it's somewhere between 19 and a half and 21 and a half years old.
Golly, that is crazy.
And we got it on, and the cool thing is we got it on video. I haven't shared the video yet. We got it on video coming in. We actually got it on video, the band on the bird, and I haven't shared it yet, but I'm going to do a YouTube video on that one once I release my new YouTube stuff. But yeah, it was a cool thing, and they think that's one of the, and then, so that's kind of cool for them too, is that you get to see the bird die on video.
Yeah, that's great,
awesome,
man.
Yeah, and the memory's captured forever.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. One thing that I love to pick into from not like, one thing that drives me crazy is like when you see an interview at a NASCAR race and, say Kurt Busch sitting there drinking a Coca-Cola. He's sitting there drinking his Coca-Cola and he's like, hey, follow Coca-Cola, and it's just so obvious that
right.
it's a paid endorsement, right? For you, a guy that's out there just grinding, hunting his butt off, doing all this stuff, you've got some incredible relationships with some of the manufacturers. And dude, let's give a little bit of shout out to those people that are helping you do what you do and kind of talk about why you use them. Well,
okay, so it's always a hard thing for me too, is because, they help me out with product, with things of that nature. And I got some great relationships. I hate to really publicize some of it just because people seem to get in this game for nothing more than a discount because they can say they're on pro staff. Because now I'm not on a pro staff. I'm not out for doing it that way. But, my real job, I'm in marketing for a living.
Sure.
So I have 68 businesses that I handle all their advertising. So I bring something other to the table than just being a goose killer.
Sure.
So yes, I have some great partnerships. I partnered up with Sitka Gear. I partnered up with Bill Saunders Calls. Bill is a great guy. Followed him forever. He is one of the OGs. I've got his DVD videos. Just an amazing, good dude. He's the funniest guy. He likes to poke fun, and I call him Grandpa Goose, and it pisses him off. And he's a great dude. He makes some amazing calls. Federal Ammunition, I've been lucky enough to partner up with those guys. Again, I took out one of the guys there and had a good relationship with them, and they've been kind enough to take care of me with the ammo for the last, for a long time here. And I shot Federal. And the cool thing is all these products that I'm talking about, I bought them before they got it. I was using their stuff anyways.
Great point.
I'm a gear guy, number one. Like, I have 2 20-foot trailers full of stuff. My garage is full of stuff. It looks like Capella's puked all over in there, So, whether they're giving it to me or whatever, I'm buying anyways. So, so Federal, I shoot Black Cloud and I shoot Blue Box. They take good care of me, and they're awesome sponsors. Mojo's taken good care of me over the years. There's oh my gosh, now I just worked a deal, and I partnered up with Dave Smith Decoys. So a little bit on that. So Dave Smith Decoys, as we know, has had the most realistic decoys on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I never really realized how good they were until I finally got my first snow spread this spring, and I got to really use them. And I never have lit so many snow geese in my entire life. There's something with the paint. There's something with their process. They're amazing decoys. And the cool thing is Brad invited me out to hunt with him in Oregon this year. And I stayed at his house, got to tour the factory, got to do all the fun things and hunt with those guys. And those guys are killers. From the day one, as soon as I got out of the truck, they were giving me shit. Oh, Hollywood's here. You know, they're giving me crap, I mean, and they were kind enough to let me kill the last bird every day. It was like, I was already part of the group that didn't make me feel like I wasn't welcome or wasn't. I mean, they were giving me shit right off the bat, you know. So they're just my kind of guy. Brad and I would stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning just talking goose.
That's awesome.
You know, I mean, they're just great guys. And you know, I remember when I was 17 years old and Dave Smith had been out for a few years, and I remember sitting in my dorm room in college, looking at it and seeing how expensive they were, and like, someday I'm going to have that. Someday, man, I wish I could have that. And now I'm 40 years old, and I'm going to have 2 trailers full of Dave Smith decoys. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people don't understand, even with their turkey decoys or whatever, there's something with the paint. There's something, you know, I can't, you know, I don't know the whole process of what goes, but I've owned every decoy on the planet. I've ran silhouettes. I've had Avery's. I was sponsored before this by DOA. You know, I've had pretty much everything. Dakota decoys, I've had everything, and avians, I've had them all. And there's just something with the paint. The birds react different to them. I remember this year, and I got it on video, and we had to kill 120 birds in, I don't know, it was probably 45 minutes. And we had about 400 of their decoys out, and the wind, we had a west wind, no clouds, sun shining right on us, and the birds still gave it up and were lighting on the ground by the hundreds.
Goodness.
And it's just there's something, you know, you can talk about the carve, and yeah, the carve looks good, but to me, I think it's the paint.
Gotcha.
The paint is something with their process that keeps it great. So yeah, I mean, I've you know, there's Onyx and Rig 'em Right. I mean, there's a lot of products that I use that I, you know, and I didn't really, it's not like you go searching for it. It's just over the years you run into people and you make good relationships and you get to know people and it just you kind of fall into it.
Yeah.
And you know, they see the success that you have too, and you know, if you work hard enough and stuff like that, you know, and I'm not at the level some of these guys are like yet, to the point where, you know, they're paying for my hunts and they're paying me X amount in cash every year and they're doing all that. But, you know, they take good care of me, and I try to use the best products, and regardless if they're going to take care of me on something, I'm buying anyways, just because I support companies that have the same vision I have and that are hunters and killers themselves. And that's the type of stuff that I want to use.
Yeah, no, I think you make such an excellent point. And Tristan, I saw you look at me a few minutes ago when he was making this point about I used it anyway. Mm-hmm. You know, and Tristan has talked about that several times about our relationship with frog dogs. You know, it was just we've used this out in the field, and this is what is our go-to product for this situation, or you know, our waders or waterproof, you know, whatever. That's what we were using anyway, you know, and so I think you make such an incredible point about that, you know, and I knew you were. That's why I was throwing up the whole NASCAR thing before that.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. So like you don't understand. Like, I work really hard to make a damn good living. Mm-hmm. I can afford to do it on my own. So for someone to notice the things that I'm doing and want to be part of it, you know, I can't thank them enough for it. And they take good care of me, and I appreciate it. And they make the best stuff. And you know, whether they were sponsoring me or not, I'm spending the money and I'm buying their product. And I think that if you're filming and you're on Instagram and you're growing your following, if you're doing it for a sponsor or to get free stuff or to get money. If that's your whole reason behind it, people are going to be able to see right through you.
Mm-hmm.
The sponsors are going to be able to see right through you, and you're not going to get any love.
Yep.
If you work hard enough and you build your following up and you put out a good product as far as video goes, they're going to find you. You don't have your DMs. Well, I got a DM the other day from Windsor Canadian. I got a DM from, just weird stuff that you would have never thought would want to work. I haven't did anything with them yet, but it's just crazy how, it just happens. So don't chase the dollar. Don't chase a pro staff. Being on a pro staff means absolutely. You know what pro staff stands for? It's not professional. It's promotional.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand is that you're nothing more than a marketing tool. And they think it gives you some kind of clout, and they think that it makes you a better hunter. That's not what this is about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I agree with you completely on that, and Tristan and I have always taken such a humble approach to the relationships that we have. And thank you for everybody that has relationships with us. We're just out father, son doing our thing, and we believe in what the products that we use, and we don't try to go out and make it bigger than what it is. And we'll talk to them about even if we have an issue with a product, and they appreciate the feedback and stuff like that. I just think it's such an important point that you make, is that if you're chasing that dream for the wrong reason, don't expect those good results. Because if you just be a humble person and just go out and do what you do.
Right. And I don't want to throw shade. Here's the other thing I see, not just with this industry. I don't think of waterfowl hunting as an industry. I think of myself as a waterfowl hunter that likes to show off his hunts and get lucky enough to get taken care of by a few clients and, sponsors and things. But, what I see a lot of people do is, especially younger kids, they are chasing it for the sponsors, or they want to be a guide. Now, let me just tell you, for all you kids out there, you don't need to be a guide to hunt every day. You don't need to do that. I don't do that. I don't charge for anything. I went to college. I got a degree. I worked really, really, really hard. I busted my ass for a long time. I found a company that pays me on performance, not by a salary, not by hourly, that will seen my vision, and they seen my passion, and I knew that time off was the most important thing and what drove me. And now I get to travel the world and hunt 150 days a year. So my whole point is, there's a better way and an easier way. You don't need to pull the guide card right off the bat. Let me just tell you what, some of the people that are how do I put this? People that go to, and I've hunted with guides before, and I've helped some people out guide in the past. Some of the most people that are, I don't even know what the word, I'm drawing a blank here. They're not, they don't appreciate it, are the people that are paying. They think that they own you, and there's a lot of guides aren't making a lot of money. They're not being able to support themselves by just guiding.
Sure.
And you got to put that gun down, and the experience isn't your experience. You're not the one shooting. You're not the one having fun. You need to make it more about them. So if you're more about bringing the experience to somebody else, and you don't ever care if you pull the trigger, be a guide. But if you enjoy hunting and you want to spend more time with your buddies and get together and go see cool things and travel the world and have fun and not have a care in the world, it's probably not the way for you.
Yeah.
And it's
go ahead.
So go ahead. No, I'm good.
No, yeah, that's I think from the outside looking in, I've kind of observed a similar thing and I think it's anything that it's kind of a tough thing. It's no different than if you're a golf pro at a golf shop or whatever. It's when you take on the aspect of this is what I'm going to do professionally for my career, for my job, being a guide. Essentially, you are essentially sacrificing a little bit of that fun, because I saw an example this year where a guide was raining out birds. I think they limited out of a field 11 days in a row or something, and it was just another day, another $1. It just gets to the point where you're numb to it, which is unfortunate. But that's just kind of, if you're going to be a guide, what you got to think about.
Well, and that's why I never got into it. I'm not going to take the one thing that I love the most, that I look forward to most, that drives me the most, and make it about money.
Yeah.
And that's why I never got into it. Like, I can make money anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that ain't why I do this. And the same way with the sponsors. Like, I'm not doing this for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's what most people that are younger kids, they look up and they see all these guides with these massive followings, and they see them running around the country, and they think it's all sunshines and rainbows all the time. And I got to tell you, it ain't.
Yeah.
It's not. They live a tough life, and you have to be to be the best of the best and a great guide. I got a buddy, John Olson from Snow Addictions down in Arkansas. John's probably one of the best snow goose hunters in the planet.
Do you want coffee that doesn't suck? Get the Duck. Dirty Duck coffee is made specifically for the waterfowl enthusiast. Enjoy flavors like Morning Wood, Dark Dynasty, Cinnamon Teal Snickerdoodle, and First Flight to unlock the flavor that you'll enjoy in the blind for years to come. Our friends at Dirty Duck Coffee Company are now offering all Zero Duck 30 followers a 15% discount when you use code ZeroDuck15 on your next order.
And I think of myself as a pretty good one, but John's done a lot of cool things. He's an amazing snow goose guide. I went down to his operation and hunted with him, and we hunt here in North Dakota together. And he's actually a client of mine out of work.
Mm-hmm.
He's an incredible hunter, incredible guy, and his guides really do care, and they want to pass that experience that they've had on. And there's very, I know the guys down at Cadillac Creek, they really care. I know Cole Townsend and some of the other guys down there that I've got relationships with that do a great job, but if you're going to pick a guide or you want to be a guide, really do some soul searching and do your due diligence and make sure you're going with the right person. Because, man, every spring you see all these horror stories. The guys get stiff, they get hot seated, they get stuck in the same field, they get there and they don't see any birds. Like, they're just collecting a check and moving on, so really do your due diligence and when you're looking for a guide or thinking about becoming one, because it's not all sunshines and rainbows, and not all guides are built the same.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, that is. So, man, to kind of wrap things up or whatever, what is on the agenda? Like, what are we going to be like, dude? Michael is going here, here, and here. What's up on the waterfowl season? What trips are you planning this year?
Okay, well, so far we'll be doing obviously North Dakota. We're doing Montana this year, Saskatchewan, Alberta, South Dakota, Minnesota, New Jersey. Again, I can't leave my boys out of fall play out of it. I got to go see them once a year. And then, so I'm going to do a little bit more stuff. I'm not going to go south like I normally do. I'm probably going to try to go back out to Oregon and hunt with the Dave Smith guys again this year. When I went out last year, I only got to hunt geese. They got some amazing duck hunting out there, and all their ducks are fully colored out. Like here, when we're shooting ducks, it's a lot of times it's the brown duck beat down, and you don't get a whole lot of color on them. So, I'm going to probably try to go out there and do a little duck hunting. And not this summer, but next summer. I'm working on something right now to go out to New Zealand and waterfowl hunt out there, and then also to Denmark to hunt with another. I'm not gonna throw it all out there yet, but we're working on something with a good friend that I met on Instagram to go to Denmark and hunt barnacle geese and pinkfoots.
Nice.
So we're working on that, and so that'll be coming up. I know we're trying to do New Zealand next summer, and then probably Denmark probably the year after.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait to enjoy the journey and just see you keep putting out the reality of just having fun and going out and having a good time.
And like I said, we're taking it up a notch. I spent money on a big camera. All these hunts this year, I've done all this other stuff up to this point on my iPhone. I spent the money on a camera. I've got a camera guy going with me on all my trips this year. We're going to video it, and I'm going to stay tuned, because I'm going to start releasing full-length YouTube videos, and it's going to really show some cool stuff that because here's the thing, on Instagram you have to go vertical with your video.
Yeah.
Now with YouTube I can go full length, so you can actually see what's all the birds that are falling.
Yeah.
And you can see a lot of the things that are, a lot of times you guys don't see, you guys only see 5, 6, 8 birds fall, but there's 20, 30 birds falling. you don't get to see the full length thing. You don't get to get into, and the videos can only be 60 seconds. And if you look at the analytics, most people only watch a video for 9 to 12 seconds, unless they're really into waterfowl hunting. So my point being is that it's going to really deep dive into it even better. It's going to see the process more. I'm going to give a lot more tips and tactics out. We're going to do more of the journey type stuff. It's going to be a lot more fun. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a bloodthirsty killer. We're still going to see a lot of birds falling, and it's all about shooting. But you're going to be able to see a lot more cool stuff and behind-the-scenes stuff, and we're going to really crank it up on YouTube. That's
awesome, man. And where can everybody follow you on social media channels at? Where can we follow that journey?
So Michael __McNeal on Instagram. And then let me pull it up here. So I have a YouTube channel. I've done a few things on there. But if you type in Michael McNeal on YouTube, you'll find me, or Michael McNeal McNeal 6781 on YouTube. Actually, yep. So I haven't done a lot with my YouTube, but I've got 14 hunts, fully featured hunts that I'm in the process of editing and stuff right now, and I'm going to try to release the first one in August. And I'll go Facebook Live, and I'll be pre-promoting it ahead of time, and we're going to get cranking on YouTube. So
awesome, man. Dude. Thank you. I mean, I could talk to you all night, honestly.
No, that's the cool thing. You guys are straight. Now we'll have to plan a hunt where you boys can come out, and we'll get you on a hunt or two. I'd love to meet you guys, and we'll see if we can figure something out where you can come out and spend a few days out here and get you in, because I'd love to. That's a cool thing for me. When you meet people that you can talk to for a couple hours, that ain't nothing. And I know you guys got a podcast, and you're trying to do some stuff with it, but for you guys are my kind of dudes, and I appreciate you wanting to learn and listen and spend some time with me talking about everything, and you guys are my kind of dudes, so I'd love to hunt with you guys someday.
Well, we appreciate that, man. And from our perspective, this is our 60-second podcast we've done, and no shade to anybody we've ever had on, but some people are just more, it's just hard to, how it is when it's
pull information from them.
It doesn't click naturally, and it's just kind of one of those, sometimes those podcasts happen, but you're right, when you the vibe's right with somebody, you just kind of feel that.
Well, and I told Tristan before we even had you on, I was talking to Michael off air, and yesterday, and he goes, I'm a talker, bro. And I told Tristan, I go, dude, this is gonna be a fun podcast. I just knew it was.
I'm a sales guy. I'm a sales guy. That's what I do for a living.
Yeah, and we're A-type personalities here too, And,
and that's just it, man. I like to communicate with people, and I love to. That's and here's the thing, this is who I am. This isn't me throwing up oh, Mr. Michael's on the podcast. I'm not. You get what you get, man. And if you don't like it, I don't care. I'm telling you right now.
I love that.
You know what I mean? This is it. Take it or leave it. I'm a fun dude. I'm not a bad guy. I really do care, and I love the sport, and I love talking to people, and this is, I do it for the right reasons, and I love to talk to people like you guys who, who get it too and love it for the right reasons, and that's the whole thing. And like I said, I've done a lot of podcasts too, and been invited on a lot, and this has been the most natural, fun one. So good kudos to you guys. You guys are doing a great job.
Well,
man, thank you. We really appreciate it. And on that, I will tell you, you want to be challenged as a duck hunter, come down hunt in the gator swamps with us. And I don't know if you got a model on your list yet, or a black belly whistler, or a fulvius, but we can make it happen, bro, or at least put you in the right position.
I got a buddy in Louisiana that's been begging me to come down and shoot a tree duck and a molted and model duck, and I haven't done it yet. It's when you go and you find cool stuff that you really, really love, you gotta freaking not do something to go do something. You know what I mean? And that's the hard part. I get to travel a lot, and you think 150 days you could work in a trip to Louisiana or to Arkansas. But it's hard, man. It's tough to make it work sometimes. But yes, I do need to go down there. I need a whistler. I need a molted. I still need a cinnamon teal. So it's on the list. But yeah, I'd love to have you guys up to North Dakota or something, and we could get you guys on some hunts here, and then we can work out something down south.
The door's open, and we'd love to pay it forward. without anything in return. Just you help people experience. I mean, we feel like we're pretty good at it down in the South, and I would love to be able to share the experience with anybody, honestly. And yeah, I mean, when it hits your radar and you just get that need, and you're like, dude, I am going down to Florida with Tristan and Tony, and we're going to, or whatever, dude. Just let us know, and we'll make it happen, bud.
Yeah, you guys got my number. Stay in touch, and if you ever need another guest again, I'd love to come back on. There's so much stuff we didn't get to reach this time, but I'd love to come back on another time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Slow down, standing in the pouring rain.